I have been a battler for most of my life, but I've always driven myself to be successful in order to achieve my dreams. I used education as the way to change my life to get to where I am now, and believe that a quality education is the key to success for any young Australian. I've always been inspired by Nelson Mandela, who reinforced the importance of education with these words: "Education is the great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of the peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, that a child of a farm worker can become the president of a great nation. As the son of a railway ganger and a domestic worker who was part of the stolen generation, I am here before you today in this chamber because of the influence of education and my Year 1 teacher, Miss Abernethy. Her unfailing faith in my ability to succeed and serve Australian society resonated on the day of the election when she turned up to hand out how to vote cards for me in Maddington. This ongoing support after 50 years since I was in her class has been particularly humbling. This is why I've always believed and promoted the fact that education and access to the knowledge society involves lifelong learning. An education in Corrigin, a rural country town in Western Australia, has not been a barrier to my current achievements. The local Rotary Club, the Country Women's Association and a local businessman, Dean Rundle, combined their efforts to ensure I completed my secondary schooling. They met all of the costs associated with my schooling, the travel and the pocket money. They indicated to my parents they had great faith in the pathway and journey that I had the opportunity to travel if I was given the right support. I attended Swanley Residential College in Swan View to complete my leaving certificate, and I graduated as a primary school teacher from Mount Lawley Teachers College. My career led me to leadership roles in education and health, both in Western Australia and New South Wales. I want to say that co-chairing the COAG Hawg Indigenous Health Working Group, which achieved a $1.6 billion commitment from all jurisdictions to improve Indigenous health outcomes, is for me the jewel in the crown of my work of achievement. I was able to contribute to these positions effectively due to my life experiences. As a teenager, I would trap rabbits to put food on the table, sell the excess to the local butcher, and tan the skins to provide money for our family of 10. I would get up at 4:30 a.m, light the fire, and ride my bike to check my traps before going to school. Then after school I would chop firewood for others to earn money. On weekends and school holidays I worked in a variety of labouring roles, which included being a labourer for brickies, carpenters, plumbers and a roof tiling team. The work was hard, but I pulled my weight to earn what I was paid. I was a rouseabout on cheering teams and learnt wool classing. Experiences such as a farm labourer, a general hand in a local garage washing car parts on a cold morning in petrol, an undertaker's live-in caretaker, a fettler on the railway line and a grape picker in the Swan Valley and Caversham are not dissimilar to the experience of my electors in the seat of Hasler. Mr Speaker, whilst I was campaigning and meeting people at front doors, I was affected by the number of ordinary Australians who struggle from day to day, and in particular the number of seniors, retirees and veterans who are struggling to make ends meet. I find this an anomaly because the wealth, prosperity and facilities that we take for granted were established and provided through the hard work and sacrifices of our elderly. Additionally, our freedom, the liberties we enjoy and the democratic processes we have today is because of our veterans and the sacrifices that they made for us. I don't want to celebrate a day or a week dedicated to seniors and veterans, but instead want to work with members of this House to find real solutions that enable them to enjoy a comfortable retirement and be financially secure. Elders within Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander societies are revered, respected and hold a special place. They do not go away but remain as wisdom givers and guides in our future. The same concept has to apply to all seniors and retirees, and the support they require should be accorded them. As leaders, and I see all of us in this House as leaders, we need to be pathfinders so that we can accelerate the change needed to improve outcomes for our future generations. To me, pathfinders are leaders who shape the future, which is fast, fragile, fashionable and ever-changing. As a pathfinder, we forge the way forward, we draw the maps and the pathways for the future generations of Australians. As pathfinders, we have to commit to and fight for change. We have to plan for a society that should exist for all Australians in 2030 and 2050. Through my professional experience in health and medicine, health and medical treatment is an example that gives a clear understanding of the rapid impact of change. Today, modern medicine includes substantial works surrounding stem cell research, its application to repairing vital organs and body tissue, DNA profiling and health enhancement to address predispositions to diseases. This will ultimately impact on an individual's well-being and prolong the quality of life. Consider the following. In the near future, we will be able to have a 360-degree body scan that will identify every organ, blood vessel and nerve, which in turn will be stored on a computer, uploaded, and your surgery will be programmed and robotically followed through. The complex incision, treatment of body tissue and the sealing of a wound will be all supervised by a surgeon from a central control point. It sounds impossible, but imagine Henry Ford today looking at the assembly line he established. It is now that automated that he wouldn't recognise the original process upon which it was based. As pathfinders, we need to design education and training systems that are a means through which Australian societies better prepare future generations to invent a better tomorrow for themselves and their children. The opportunity to address this issue has been lost over recent times, and we need to redress the current situation so that we develop Australia's workforce with the skills required in the future. I believe that we as leaders need to be pathfinders who will use our influence at the right times for the right reasons for the good of all, not the few. That we will continue to search for the best answers and not the familiar one, because they offer the path of least resistance. That we will achieve a legacy of better outcomes for the children of the future, and that we will work for the benefit of others and not for personal gain. For all of us as pathfinders, we need to take our ideas and aspirations, act upon them, see them through success, and not give up on them when the quest gets challenging, remembering at all times we are our children's future. Mr. Speaker, I am passionate and strongly committed to working towards achieving better outcomes and opportunities for the residents of Hasluck, Indigenous Australians and Australian society, marked by justice, legitimacy, integrity and a commitment to support these essential virtues. Equally, I strongly believe that we need to provide a lifelong educational pathway that positions our young people to succeed in an ever-changing world where the quick pace of the global and technological society will be ever-present in their lives. Provide for our seniors, veterans and those living in poverty who require practical solutions to their specific needs. Provide strong and visionary leadership that forges our place in the global community as a nation of people led by many, not the few. I believe that ministers as pathfinders have the capacity to make a difference in shaping Australia's future. The greatest strength, Mr. Speaker, of Australian democracy is that ministers of any party take responsibility for the provision of services, programs and funding for all Australians based on need and not on political expediency. This thinking should extend beyond the term of a government, even though we give commitments within our election priorities. I expect that the residents of Hasluck will equally share in the evolving commitments and priorities established by ministers, and I will ensure that they will not be overlooked. My commitment is to them. Throughout the campaign and election, I was strongly supported by the Hasluck division of the WA Liberal Party and the team of volunteers who provided endless hours of support and encouragement. Mr. Speaker, in the 44th Parliament, I hope to see Aboriginal members from all parties in their place in the House of Representatives. I have appreciated the personal support given to me since the campaign by the Honourable Tony Abbott, and the Honourable Julie Bishop. My patron senator, who has walked very closely with me. Senator Judith Adams was the mainstay of support that resulted in me standing here as the member for Hasluck in the chamber today. The things I have done and achieved in life are not for my own edification, but that of making a difference for others, that they may choose a destiny that meets their needs and the needs of the society in which they live. I have the experience, wisdom, fortitude and energy to take on this responsibility and to do what has to be done to make a difference for the people of Hasluck. As a pathfinder, I will focus on the present, learn from the past to shape the future for the generations to come. I want to dedicate my maiden speech, because of the support that I received, to my fiancée Anna and to my sons Aaron and Brendan, who continue to make me proud. Thank you, Mr Speaker. Thank you, members.
Ken Wyatt, Australia's first Indigenous member of the Lower House, receiving a standing ovation there after a powerful maiden speech to Parliament.